Howdy chaps and chapettes. It's been a few days or weeks since I last did a video. The last thing you would have seen was the X8 Falcon, which was crushed and upside down, and I put a new roof on it and ended up looking minto. But I'm actually in country Victoria again, as you can see, doing a bit of a well, actually I'm here for a week this time, so I'm catching up with my good tank friend, and this time I'll show a bit more stuff and do an update of a few vehicles that were in the works last time but are now finished. And this time I will film through the row of trucks, which apparently a few people wanted to see last time, but I just didn't. So I might just shut up and start filming some of the vehicles. Ironically, I just said I needed to shut up, but here I am actually talking again. Now, this is Beersheba. The last time I was here, the last time you saw this tank, we were putting the turret on. It has now been finished. And this is a hybrid Stuart, but so it's not quite the same as mine, but it sort of gives you the indication of what, it's so big I can't get it on the camera, what mine could look like when it's finished. Although I don't think I'm running the extended sand skirts or dust skirts, but I've got to get one of these, the tropical boxes. On my tank, my grouser racks are actually slightly higher, but you know, you get the gist of it. And we worked out with some research last night that my Stuart is not running the tropical rear boxes, it's running standard ones. But he's gone to a lot of detail with this thing, looking absolutely spectacular. And look at all the detail. It's got the tropical air intake. I feel like I'm just in amongst a bunch of trucks, but yeah, I might film some of the trucks because some people like trucks. There's one there. I don't know. You know, one day I'll get into trucks, but it's not my thing at the moment. I just don't know them well enough. But looking spectacular. I did film this one a bit last time. This is the tank named as Patriot. This is a Lee, and it's still for sale. But you know, might be able to get around the other side of it actually. Yeah, it's still for sale. I don't think it's on Millweb at the moment, but it is currently still for sale. So if somebody had a good chunk of change, I could point them in the right direction. But that's a Lee, so it's a medium tank. This is a light tank. As you can see, it's just pretty much dominates it. It's such a huge vehicle, but it's in particularly good shape. I wonder if I can get this door open slightly. And don't scratch out the tank. Camera goes in sideways, and we're looking spectacular. It's even got a turret basket. As I just sort of squeeze my camera back out. Yep. You need muscles in your poo to get those open and shut. But it's looking awesome. So we'll go look at some of the other things that are here. We'll look at some cars in a minute, so please the cars people. Yeah. Alrighty, another vehicle that I totally forgot to film last time because we were super busy is a Bren gun carrier. Another wonderfully restored vehicle. I wish the camera lens could actually be wide enough to actually get it all in. Maybe I need a new lens which is much wider screen, but you get the gist of it. See, carrier. You got to be a fairly short chap to fit inside the driving position. Back into something. Yeah, so these are quite a fun little vehicle, but they're not a tank, so that's why I didn't end up with one, because I was sort of you know, I get it, they're cool, they're quirky, but it's not a tank, and I needed a tank in my life. And here we have a mould to make Lee turrets. Pretty incredible, really. And down in that hole somewhere, I don't know if I can get to it, should be a beautiful little flathead V8. They're actually a really cool vehicle, especially if you're starting out in the, you know, military game. They're not a bad size, they're not insanely heavy, they're powered by a V8, which flathead V8s are quite attainable. That's the word I'm trying to think. It's not like trying to find a radial. You can actually get the engines, you know, and they're not, you know, track links aren't insanely heavy, they're quite light, and it doesn't take up much more space than a standard car, so, you know, a guy in his back shed could actually handle one of these. But I'm crazy, so I went for the tank. Now this one's for the car guys out there, the Mopar lovers and the old Holden lovers. Here we have a insanely original FC Holden, like unrestored, and well, you know, obviously it's not immaculate because it's got patina on it, but insanely original. Like, look at that, still vinyl floors on it. They're actually, the seats, you know, although got obvious, you know, dirt marks on, but they can be cleaned. It is just beautiful condition, and I love this bit. Nothing shuts like an original door. Look at the condition of it. It's just, if you wanted one to restore that you're going to do up, this is ideally what you want to start with. A nice original unmolested example. This is a beautiful car. You cannot find these anymore. They don't exist like original cars, so it is quite good seeing, it's just incredible seeing one that's in drivable conditions, that's registered and unrestored. So it's a survivor car. It's not a barn find, it's a survivor car, which means it's still going, although ironically it didn't start this morning. And this is the other one, looking quite a tasty bit of crumpet. Sounds good too. This one did actually start this morning. Surprise, surprise, being a Mopar. Just a, look at that tyres. Yeah. You know, people say Falcon Coupes are good, but I don't know, some of the Mopar stuff is really tasty. I think that's a well, and this is for car people going, yeah, a Falcon Coupe these days, GT replica, or, you know, on the 100 grand mark. These are not as expensive as those, and you probably get a better car. Like, sometimes I think the Australian stuff is just so astronomically expensive it's not even funny, but some of the American stuff is actually better value for money. And then you got this really nice FC. Yeah, you'd be hard pressed finding a better original example out there. It's a really nice survivor car. And well, for those tank people, it's a Sentinel gearbox. It's where it's all the three Cadillac V8s linked together and power through that guy. So, side topic if you're ever interested. And we have a monkey-faced Blitz for those people playing at home. A slightly dirty, but quite a nice example. Just watching the weather so I can get out there and not get rained on. It's actually got a really nice wood tray on it, actually. It's actually in exceptional condition. It's just a bit dirty. Now that's a barn find. And I suspect maybe another chassis one, but don't quote me on it. It might be a slightly bigger truck. Might be a big Dodge, I think. Although without any body on it, I don't know 100% certain. Alright, for this next bit, I think I'm going to actually have to film and do a voiceover if it works. If I can get to a computer and actually do a voiceover, then it'll be fantastic. If it doesn't work, you'll just hear music for the next bit. but I'll show you the wrecks. I walk up and I come back down past the trucks this time. Alrighty chaps, now this might seem a bit strange, so the editing might be a little odd, but I've decided to redo my walkthrough of the, I guess you call it the waiting room, because the weather is actually fantastic. It's not windy, it's not cold, it's not rainy. The first time I did it, the weather was garbage, but now the weather's come good, so I've decided to redo it and do it better. So walking through, we got a M3 Grant, M3 Lee, another Grant, and another Grant, radial Grant, diesel Grant, because I realise I'm pointing with the wrong camera. Got 3 Bren gun carriers, or universal carriers. Got an M3A1 Stuart, so one of the later ones of this style, with one of the rare rubber coated rear idlers. So one steel, one idler, but I do believe this one will probably be getting a nice pair of rubber ones. This is actually a diesel Stuart. They ran a radial diesel engine, and I think only about 50 of them came to Australia. So an incredibly rare vehicle. One of the determining features is they've got these slightly larger air intakes. But this is an incredibly good Stuart. There's lots of original parts on this one. Most of the engine bay and all the wiring and everything down the bottom is all complete and in there. I mean, you know, a bit dirty, but it's all there. Some of this stuff, I've got to get myself, I don't know what it is, but it's some sort of valve. I imagine it's got something to do with the, where's my finger? The cooler. I think it goes in there, does something, goes into the tank, and then goes into the engine. So I think that's the same oil cooler they run on the diesels and the radials. Could be wrong. Somebody will probably correct me if I am. It's hard to tell what this was, but it's another Stuart that's cut down, but I believe it's going to donate its running gear for that one. This is obviously obvious to me, but most other people just think it's a pile of junk, but it's the remnants of a Robinson's creation. It's a Stuart with a Grant drive on it. I fell down a hole. Here's a few. Oop. Guess what? Filming and then walking. That's the sad results of what happens when people think you're going to scrap them, you know. Somebody's come through and just wrecked it basically. But this one has donated some parts for the good one in the shed, but it's just a shame that it's been wrecked basically. So let's go look at some trucks. Alrighty, well if you're into trucks, this could be your dream location. I don't know trucks. I'm going to just outright say that. It's just nothing I've been exposed to, so I just don't know. But I know that there is a mix of normal blitzers and monkey face blitzers along here. There's just a whole stack of them. So if you like your blitz wagons and your trucks and stuff, you'll probably enjoy this walkthrough. So I'll just start here and I'll sort of go that way. I can't tell you anything, but I'll sort of maybe pause on each one for a bit. So just enjoy. It's a long walk. I wonder if this one's got a V8 into it. Nope, 6. Heard rumours some of these might have V8s in them. But so far I've only seen 6 cylinders. This one might have a V8 into it. I just saw. Let's hope I don't get killed by snakes. Yeah, there, down in there is a flathead V8. You can't see it terribly easily. If I lift that up. There's a little guy, and it looks like a Holden voltage regulator just there. See, if I had to have a truck, I'd probably have a Blitz, probably something like that. I do think, rabbit! I do think they're oddball and quirky enough that that's kind of my style. But I would not have a 6-cylinder one. I'm sorry. I just couldn't do it, man. Gee, I wonder if that's a radio truck. Judging by the bit of cab that's attached to the back of it still. I heard the radio trucks are quite rare. But yeah, once again, don't know. And that's the end of the row of Blitz wagons. I don't know how many there was, but I'm sure somebody was counting. There's a Churchill. Huge tank, just unbelievably big. That's actually really cool. It's got actually, I didn't know this the last time I filmed it, but it's actually got both its engines in it and the transmission. It's actually almost complete. Obviously a little bit exposed to the weather over the years, but it's actually, if you're going to restore a Churchill, that might be the one to grab because it's all there. You probably wouldn't be searching for much at all. But you'd have to, that's a big tank. You know, it's just, that's out of my league. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is there's not that many trucks in this row, but I'll just walk them anyway because some people like trucks. Yep, I got no idea what I'm looking at. But if you do, hope you enjoy. Well, there you go. I guess you could call it a field of dreams. It's a long walk. The other day I filmed this and it was very wet and a bit windy, but today I thought, you know what, I'm going to refilm it because it's so much better weather and you get to enjoy it a hell of a lot more. Just look at me Blitz houses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think the number is, I think there's about 20 there, I reckon. Plenty of potential projects, but I think with one of these vehicles you'd probably want to start with one that was complete. Just thinking that. But that's just my opinion. Even with cars and stuff, I think your best option is always start with something that's complete. I know sometimes project cars and stuff, when they're shells, they're cheap, but the hunting down of all the little intricate bits makes things very difficult, especially when they're a rare vehicle. And I'll just do a final walk past them going that way, realise how unfit I am, and catch you up. What an utter waste of a vehicle. Farmers, people who scrap them, just destroy things. And actually half the reason that the Robinsons did this, because they were making tractors out of Stewarts, and unfortunately they're not supposed to be bulldozers, they're supposed to be a tank, and the final drives and gearboxes in these cannot handle being turned into bulldozers, and they break quite regularly. So what they were doing was working out that these are insanely strong, a lot stronger than you could ever need, and they're 50 times stronger than that, so they put those in. And that's why you'll find a lot of the Robinsons creations, if you can see them this day and age, they seem to all have Grant final drives in them, because they're much stronger, they're less likely to blow up. They just, I've seen so many Stewart gearboxes broken with teeth sheared off gears and everything. You just, when they've been dozers, it's not been good for them. You could actually bring this one back from the dead actually, it's still got potential, but it's been cut real low to the track height. Like you can see that one there, this one's been oxyed lower than track height, so it's sort of, yeah, you can fix it, anything's fixable, but gee, you'd be spending a long time fixing it. It's got a lot of good bits on it still. It's got the front plate. I've got to make one of these. All that. And it's actually got a couple of the road wheels are actually really nice. This is a pearler of a tank though. This one, in the scheme of things, this is going to be a Chetty. It's lovely. Yeah, people might go, there's nothing left of it. Nah, that's good. That's a good one. It's not been chopped up. I don't think any bits of the hull have been cut off actually. It's just been pulled apart. This one's had all sorts of stuff welded on it and cut off and joined back on and all sorts. What I'm actually here doing, as well as collecting up some parts from my tank, is helping with the tank that's in there. Just pretty up some of this stuff, so we grind that stuff off and weld up all the gouges, and then you have to put a bit of body filler in it to blend them back in. So that's what I'm actually doing over there, but unfortunately it's not overly interesting, so I haven't been filming a lot of what I've been up to. That one's broken unfortunately, but that's just life. Carriers, they're a quirky little vehicle. I think I was saying in one of my other clips that for the at-home handyman, if you wanted to get into military vehicles and something to play with, a small carrier would be a good starting point. A small tracked vehicle. Most tilt trays can probably do them. They're not much bigger than a car. Nothing is insanely heavy. So probably the thickest plates are probably these ones. It's like, you know, 3/8 of an inch or something. It's not really mind-blowingly heavy, whereas you start getting into this territory and even the small items weigh more than you care to admit. This would be a good one. Still got the bosses for the armour plate that the Australians put on. They put on yet another piece that goes on the front. I actually found myself watching Band of Brothers recently, and there was a scene where a Sherman takes a round straight through the front, like right through here, and it keeps going. And that's the diff in the gearbox. If you took a round straight through the front of that tank is not going to move. That's going to just stop dead in its tracks, literally. So I thought that was a bit of a TV movie mistake. I was like, nah, come on guys, you should know better than that. If it took a round through there, it wouldn't keep going. This is a good one. Well, some bits of it are good. I initially thought this might have been a Lee, but after some thought patterns, this might be actually an incredibly early Grant. And it's a very early one because it's still got all the door seals, or the allocations for all the door seals on it. Around the hatches. But I believe this one and this one are going to become one with each other and make a good complete vehicle out of the pair of them. And of course, if I had to take a vehicle home, pick of the litter, this is by far my favourite. But I know the chap, and this one ain't ever going to leave his hands. So keep dreaming, boy. But I still love it. If I had to say my favourite vehicle here is actually this one. Got all your grouser racks on the front. Just a shame they hacked the holes out of it. That's just life. But at least he timed it well enough to actually save it, because it could have. This was coming out of a yard that was actually, they had a stack of military vehicles, and in all of them and everything in the yard, it was a huge yard. I think it was in Corowa or something, and they were cleaning up. The business was closing up, and everything was being scrapped. And this could have gone the way the rest of them and gotten scrapped, but it got saved. So that was fantastic. It's here to live on. Yeah, it's got most of its gun up there. It's actually got lots of stuff in here still. You can see the shelf where the radio goes on a Grant up the back there, so the commander can have it. Gee, there's heaps of stuff in that turret actually. I'm pretty sure that's a smoke discharger up there. I did notice that a lot of the Grants, all the interiors are painted silver, or a greyish silver. I think they were silver and then they faded to grey. Yes, incredible. I love it. But let's see what else is going on. Look at him, he's doing something. You know, I got the shock of my life last night when I walked in here and saw this. I didn't know this was in here, and I didn't know it was complete, or at least, you know, looks like a tank. You know, I thought the only complete Stuart was Beersheba in the other shed, but in my last video, and I will cut in, or attempt to cut in, a little clip of me walking past what this looked like the last time I was here, about 3 months ago. Right about now. This is another one. This was another Stuart turned into a farm machinery. Right, so you got the gist of it. So he's made some progress, and I don't often get stunned, but I know how much work's involved, and I was like, no effing way did you get this done, and you kept it secret from me. Yeah, so mine's supposed to have these boxes on the back. See, the other ones come all the way to the back, and sort of the tail light hits in there and it's hidden. So mine's got those, which is kind of good. You will hear a bit of background noise. So he's made some progress. That's the same style turret mine's supposed to have. So that'll give you a bit of an idea. And you might notice I'm pointing upwards quite a long way. So they're quite a tall vehicle when they've got their tops on. It's got a small set of battle tracks on it, which are nice. Look at them, beautiful. So the top, a lot of the top hull came from that one up the back there, which got hurt in its emotional places by a farmer. But this lower hull was out there cut to here, and if I managed to do it, you would have just seen it in the clip where it's not much, and now it looks like a tank. Looking lovely. I thought I'd quickly add in a bit more of this one, this Lee. This is what I was fixing up last time. I don't know if I actually filmed it or not, or I didn't show the end result. So I was actually working on reshaping that line. It actually ended up really, really nice. Such a big guy. But yeah, I thought I'd add that in. Look at the size comparison. It's like, and it's a big tank. Nearly forgot to film the Matilda. Nearly. But yes, well, there's a rabbit. Yeah, can't really see it, but I saw it. There's rabbits everywhere around here. If you're an animal lover, you would enjoy it. But yes, results of another farmer getting to a vehicle and chopping it up. These Matildas are actually quite a funny vehicle. All of this, the hull is sort of like that and that. So that's all storage, I think. But it's another vehicle I don't know don't know tons about, so I can't really give you a history. I know that we just used them, and they're a British vehicle, I think the Brits made them. And some of these slightly larger guns. And yes, this guy is part of a club, and he does have all the correct permits, etc., to have, you know, decommissioned firearms here. They're decommissioned, they can't shoot, but you know, you got all the permits and stuff in case people are starting to get a bit, you know, ooh. So it's all done correctly and above board. Imagine being on the receiving end of that. Thought I'd also mention, you can see that sign there. I'll zoom in on it. You are on candid camera when you're here. The host is a lovely guy, but he also isn't fond of people just strolling in and, you know, making themselves at home. So the place is always security cameraed, and you know, that's also why I don't tell who the guy is, who the chap is, and I don't tell exactly where I am either. So there is some privacy things that I like to respect, but in case anybody got any funny ideas, I have seen the security setup, and you know, you'd have a hard time not being seen. So I just thought I'd add that in there. But yeah, awesome chap, great place, awesome gear, don't get any funny ideas. Happens to rhyme, I think. So just thought I'd add that in for anybody who's getting a bit, you know, had any funny thoughts. And here we have my haul. Also got a trailer in the deal, which is excellent. One of the you know, you're carrying a lot of weight when you actually have to go then buy some heavy duty springs for your Holden ute. I'm not even joking. When we loaded this up, this ute was, this wheel arch was down here. It was so low, I was like, well, I can't drive home with that. So we had to go to Petters and buy the most heavy dutiest of springs they had available, and take it in the workshop and jack it up and take them out. And now it's actually at an acceptable height. But I'm not joking, this was like 4 inches lower.
What was that? Any desire you once had?
Any desire I once had of this thing. Yeah. You know what? I think I'm gonna walk.
Gonna buy one?
Hell no.